Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is Boogeyman band? Is Boogeyman band?
Tribute.
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. This is going to be the first video in a new series that I'm starting here on the channel. It's called Quiet Little Tribute of Salem's Lot. This is something that I have been thinking about for a while. I first announced it on my community page here on YouTube a little over a week ago, and I got some really good feedback on it, and I want to thank everyone for providing that feedback because I didn't know if it would be something that people would be interested in. For me personally, as a fan of this film, of course it being my favorite film of all time, my favorite miniseries of all time, you know, not a lot is known about some of these actors, some of the character actors that were in this. There's not a lot of information that's readily available. Some of these actors that were in this film had been actors for years before this film was made. And, you know, some of them were very small character actors, but they had a very big impact on me being a fan of this film for as long as I've been a fan of this film. And I want this series to be kind of a love letter to all of the people that served as a component to what made this film so great. So not only will I be talking about the actors, but also the producers, the composer, that being Harry Suckman, and director, the late great Tobe Hooper. For today's video, I decided to focus on an actor that had a really big impact on me when I first watched this film, especially as the repeat viewings of watching it on cable television when I got to be about 7-8 years old and really just got into this film pretty heavily. That being Barney McFadden, the late great Barney McFadden, who played Ned Tebbets, Susan Norton's jilted lover, and the adversary for Ben Mears. There's not a lot of information about this man. I did some serious digging on it. I even used you know, Tony Earnshaw's book, Studies in the Horror Film on Salem's Lot. The little bit of information I was able to get from this, most concerning some of the scenes that were excised from the finished film, and I don't know if those scenes were shot, but I'll talk about them. The other stuff I just had to sort of dig online to find out any bit of information that I could. So Barney Joseph McFadden was born on November 22nd, 1946 in New York City, New York. He studied acting in New York at the Neighborhood Playhouse School, going on to appear in many movies and television shows. He has 40 credits in his filmography. Those range from soap operas like Guiding Light. He was on television series like Kojak, Chips, Logan's Run, Barnaby Jones, The Rockford Files. He was also in a handful of miniseries from Centennial to The Yellow Rose to Salem's Lot, which of course was a miniseries, and then on a lot of television shows a lot of credits like television shows in the 80s like Simon and Simon, The A-Team, Dallas with Larry Hagman. And in later years he would play on 90210, Beverly Hills 90210, as well as Spy Game and the series Jag. The last credits to his name were Jag in 1999, as well as a short called Bear to the Right, which came out in 2000. So he would only live 6 more years after that. He passed away on March 9th of 2006 at the age of 59. And what's crazy about that is my best friend Guillermo passed away on March 7th of 2006. He was 26 when he passed away, but I thought that was crazy that he passed away just a couple days after my friend did. He passed away after suffering a stroke. He was survived by his longtime wife, Rosie Gross, his brothers Guinness and Thomas, and sister Rosemary. Memorial service for him was held in Woodland Hall and Turneskal Gateway Park in Pacific Palisades, California. And what's sad is that's really all of the information I could find on the man. Now, besides the Beverly Hills 90210 appearance where the episode was called Flying, it aired in the 6th season of the show in 1996. That was the only other acting part I saw. I haven't seen any of these other shows, but yeah, the only other thing I knew him from was the 90210 episode. And I remember when that episode aired because I watched 90210. It was a show that I watched through its entire run. And I remember when he showed up, I'm like, I know that guy. And I was like, oh my God, that's Ned Tebbets. That's Barney McFadden. Yeah, for some reason, Barney McFadden had a really big impact on me. He was just kind of this brooding character that was, you know, felt like he had been wronged. that he had been passed over for Ben Mears, and I wish they could have explored that a little bit more. There's moments in the miniseries where, you know, like when Eva Miller tells Ben after he gets off the phone with Susan, who's in Boston at the time, that Ned Tebbets was around here fixing the toilet and threatening to fix you. Knowing that he is out there and gunning for Ben, he's gonna kick Ben's ass for stealing his girl, you know, which is the term that he even uses when he finally confronts him and surprises him when Ben comes back to his room and Ned's there. He said, "Try to steal my girl." So I always wondered if there was more to that, if there was more episodes where their paths like almost crossed before that confrontation that lands Ned Tebbets in jail before he meets his demise at the hands of Barlow. But like I said, going back to the studies in the horror film, the amazing book by Tony Earnshaw, there is a couple of parts of the screenplay that was excised from the final miniseries, and I don't know if these scenes were shot, but there's one interaction between Ned Tebbets and Crockett that's early. It's actually prior to Crockett going to see Straker for the first time. This is after Ben Mears has asked about the Marston house, and they direct him to Eva Miller's boarding house. And what happens is he flags down Ned Tebbets' truck and asks him to fix. There's like a leak that he needs to fix, and they had like this interaction. And he tells him he'll be able to fix it like by 5:30 that day. And then there's another interaction between Ned Tebbets and Susan. There's a scene where Ned Tebbets actually goes into Susan's classroom and talks to her. And I really wish those scenes, if they were shot, could have been in that miniseries, because I would have liked to have seen more of Ned Tebbets, because he's kind of just like peppered throughout the film. He's not really that big of a part, and I would have liked to have seen more interaction between Mike Ryerson and Ned Tebbets, because I mean, of course, he goes on the infamous journey to get the crate from the Portland docks, because Cully tells Mike, "You're going to need another strong back for the $50." And I was curious like how he talked Ned into doing that, what their relationship was, because you never see the two together again until they're in the root cellar at the Marston house at the very end. We could have seen Ned as a vampire more. We know from Noli, the deputy, that Ned came to see him, but it would have been cool to see like maybe Ned stalking outside of Eva Miller's boarding house after Ben. That would have been really cool to see. And I don't know if they shot anything like that, but wouldn't that have been awesome? Because he looks so cool as a vampire, and you barely see him as a vampire. Out of everybody else in the cast that became vampires, he was the one you saw the least, and I think he looked really cool. But yeah, you know, it really saddens me that there's not more information. I wish I had more to talk about with Barney McFadden, but I really just wanted to say that he played a very significant part in me becoming a fan of this film. I don't know why. I really liked the interactions between him and Jeffrey Lewis. He's convinced there's something in that crate that's causing it to move. He wants to open it up, and Mike just wants to get it to the Marston house and deliver it. And their whole dynamic, how they start off, you know, kind of like, you know, giggling about the fact that Cully set the whole thing up so he can catch Bonnie cheating with Crockett. But then it turns into sort of this really tense situation where they have this crate that's ice cold, that's moving closer towards the cab and everything. I love just, like I said, the dynamic between the two actors in those scenes delivering Barlow to the Marston. His part really left an indelible mark on me, and hopefully one day I can catch some of the other shows and miniseries and movies that he was in. He was a fantastic actor, and he's a very important element into what makes this film so great. Thank you for watching this first video in this new series, Quiet Little Tribute of Salem's Lot, focusing on the actor, the late great Barney McFadden, who played Ned Tebbets. Let me know what you guys think about this. Does this sound interesting to you? Do you like the concept I'm going with here? Like I said, this is something I'm trying. I have a couple more lined up. The next one I want to focus on will be Reggie Nelder, who played, of course, the Master, Kurt Barlow himself. That is one I'm working on next. That one's going to be a lot more extensive. I was able to find a lot more information out about him, of course. This has been a tremendous resource, Studies in the Horror Film, Salem's Lot. So yeah, that one you guys can expect in a couple weeks, but I'm curious what you guys think about this segment. If you like this episode, episode as well. Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Would love to hear from everyone. Also, I want to give a really big shout out to a good friend of mine, somebody new that's here in the YouTube space that I really enjoy his videos. He goes by Captain Horror. He's awesome. He does a lot of unboxing stuff. Recently, he's gotten like the special edition releases that Scream Factory's been putting out of The Funhouse and The Fog. And I know he just did the Evil Dead remake one. I haven't watched that one yet, but he's an awesome guy. I want to see his numbers get a little bit higher. I think he's honest, true horror fan. Check out Captain Horror, link down below. Also, I want to give a plug to my buddies over at Ear for Fear. I did a podcast with them. We shot it in late July. It aired a couple weeks ago. It was focusing on our top 5 horror films of 1980. Please support them. I will put a link down below to them. I want to thank them so much for inviting me onto their show. Also, remember to support the sponsor of this video. It's Kevin over at House of Mysterious Secrets. That's houseofmysterioussecrets.com. I've been buying horror collectibles from Kevin since 2010. Awesome collection of horror items like shirts, hats, toys, posters, soundtracks. If you check out the site, use code 9350 for a one-time 10% off. Tell them the Boogeyman sent you. Thanks so much everyone for the support, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy, stay scared as always, and remember, you can do nothing against the master. Peace. Hey fellow Fright Fiends, just want to say thank you again for supporting Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I typically do this once or twice a week with new content. I've been doing this for over 11 years and the horror genre is a passion of mine, and it really means a lot to me that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again later. Take it easy, stay scared as always.